that song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1280, 1280, the 80s. Oh, girls just want to have fun. It's Mike Matthews here at Podcastro-Valley-Mont. And the last place on earth, a little restaurant, bar, place, meeting place we called Cafe Anyway is where we are at, which you can call at
Mike's Daily Podcast
336MM Daily. We're taking your calls now. 336MM Daily. Today we have this segment called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
A fine article. Well, you know about Michael Flynn and that he is not in the Trump cabinet anymore, and now investigation will take over the nation, and people are going to ask all about what he knew when he knew it.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is going to become Flynn Ghazi. I coined that just now. Flynn Ghazi.
Mike's
You're welcome.
Daily
Podcast. Bam.
Yeah.
Bam. Bam. I can do that because it's my podcast and I can do weird stuff like that. Yes, this Michael Flynn this is going to be the bane of Trump's existence. It was only a matter of time before someone would show up that would really bring him down, and this is going to be it. God bless America. I hope the best for America. I hope the Republicans that are in the House and the Senate that take up the majority, that they show a little ball and they go and they do something about this, because they clucked about Hillary for these many decades and about every frickin' little thing they could find about her. And even Michael Flynn himself said, lock her up. And now, turnabout, my friend, is fair play. It's all about the eye for an eye. Hammurabi's code. We're gonna ram your Hammurabi right up your tuchuses, publicans. Actually, publicans, those are people that own bars, right? In England. Oi, jolly place. I've completely lost it. Look who just walked in. Hey, hello, Chely Shoehart.
Hello, Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. Oh my God, you are like so out there today.
I know.
You need to like slow your roll and stuff.
No way.
Thank you, Chely, for telling me that. I probably got a little bit off there, but yes.
Like, Matthews, it's really terrible when the people that run our government are corrupted and stuff.
It is. It's very disheartening, Chely.
What did you do for Valentine's Day?
I don't know. Nothing. What did you do?
I went out with Bob.
How are you and Bob doing?
Bob's like so wonderful. He's like the man of my dreams and everything.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad somebody's found somebody.
Yeah, he's great. Why do you keep playing that whenever we talk about love?
That's the sound of Cupids flying around and shooting with arrows.
That would hurt, Mike Matthews.
It would. Look who else just walked in. Whoa, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. The Republicans are making a mess of things as usual. Well, the Trump-publicans. I just coined that one too, Trump-publicans! Bam! Bam in your bam-in face! Okay. Mike, you're nuts! Ah, nuts! It's my podcast. I can be a little bit nuts if I want to. Nuts if I want to. It's the 80s. 1280s. We've gotten into the 1280s. And the song from the 80s I wanted to sing right now is Studio. That was from the 80s. You're welcome. No, everybody, I had an enjoyable Valentine's Day. I was in Pleasanton with my dog, Basil the Boxer, who sounds a little like this. And we were walking along. We went on a 5-mile walk part of our walk involved downtown Pleasanton, which I must say is very pleasant. They've done all kinds of nice things to downtown Pleasanton. There were some old vacant spaces that are now filled with little cool coffee places that have Stumptown coffee and whatnot. And they've redone a bunch of the benches, and they put little gazebos over the benches. And I was sitting there talking to my mom on the phone. She's in Daytona Beach. We were getting caught up on Valentine's Day. Her boyfriend, who's also named Mike. I know, that's a little weird. No, it's the whole world's named Mike. That's the issue. So, thank you for listening to the show, Mike. By the way, on my Facebook, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but I've changed my name from Mike Matthews to Mike H. Matthews, so I don't get confused with that damn Mike Matthews. That's the workout guy that's all buff. He's probably full of steroids. So it's Mike H. Matthews. That's my middle name. Starts with H. Stands for heck. Hecka. People in the Bay Area, when they say things like, that dam is full of water, those are the ones that are Christians that don't want to say hell, because it should be hella, because that's the awesome word of the time. Hella. Hella, hella, hella.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Mike, you're a little bit cuckoo today. Thank you. But today's picture is not of anything in the Bay Area. Today's podcast picture is actually we go to the lovely land of Germany, to a little town called Bellheim, where my late great uncle Joop lived. And I lost my uncle about a year ago, and he was an amazing man. He was fun. He was hilarious. He taught me a lot. He got me running. I was really overweight as a kid, and he got me running, and I lost so much weight, and the girls found me attractive all of a sudden. And I will use that sound effect, because I was attractive. And little cupids were shooting arrows to the women that saw me, because I was so hot, because my Uncle Joop got me running. My Uncle Joop was also an amazing artist, and he could sculpt just about anything, and I am very lucky to have a couple sculptures that he made in my house, the little ones that I was able to pack in my suitcase when I saw him in 2009, and he sent me a couple too shipped overseas. And when I got to see him in 2009, we were walking with him, my ex-wife and I, and he was pointing out some of the interesting sculptures that he had made that were on people's front lawns. People would, like, let's say they had a tree that they want to chop down. He'd say, well, don't chop down the tree completely. Leave some of the stump. I will sculpt from the stump something. And this is actually Bellheim is known for this figure. It's kind of this guy with a mustache, the hat. He's a Burgomaster, basically. It's a mayor in Germany type thing. And they wanted this figure that's well known in Bellheim. He's kind of the mascot of Bellheim. And somebody wanted that on their front lawn. So that's a mayor, a Burgomaster on someone's front lawn. And he had made that. So I took that picture long ago, and I wanted to make that as the podcast picture. So that's there. My great Uncle Joop. So the dam didn't break. Everybody was all crazy about the dam, the Orville Dam, and people are being able to... they dropped boulders in to stabilize the spillway, and a lot of people are being able to move back. So hopefully that situation works itself out, and all the hard work going into fixing it, thanks to all those people working on that. We got some news stories to get to. We'll get to that. You can listen to past podcasts, see past podcast pictures, and I don't know, you can help us out through the Amazon link at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, click on the Amazon link and buy whatever it is you're going to buy. That helps us out. There's also a PayPal. If you'd like to help us out that way, you'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters, and you'll become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster. That's at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-1280-Burgomaster. You know, yesterday in Pleasanton, it was fun because I took my dog, as I mentioned, and I was Basil the Boxer. And what I did was, getting to Pleasanton, if you take 580, at that time of day that I'm able to do it, which is after work, which is around, I really couldn't set out to go to Pleasanton until around 3:30. I'm able to do that because I get to work at 5, and I wake up at 4, and more about that on the last show. But I was going from Podcastro Valley to Pleasanton, and I took the side road, which means I get to drive past someone's house that I really don't like. And I get to yell some kind of obscenity through the closed car window of my automobile as I drive past their house. That's one of the high points of that trip. And it's kind of scenic, and then I get to downtown Pleasanton. And yesterday, there were so many beautiful women. Pleasanton usually has a lot of beautiful women walking around all the time. I don't know why. But they were wearing red. Just about all of them were wearing red. And women look so lovely in red. The lady in red. Okay, another 80s song. Okay, now the news segment.
A fine article.
You silly great fat article.
We will start off with what could quite possibly be the biggest news story of the moment. Harrison Ford almost crashing in an airplane again. No. Phone records and intercepted calls show that members of Donald J. Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and other Trump associates had repeated contacts with senior Russian intelligence officials in the year before the election, according to 4 current and former American officials. This in the New York Times. American law enforcement and intelligence agencies intercepted the communications around the same time they were discovering evidence that Russia was trying to disrupt the presidential election by hacking into the Democratic National Committee. 3 of the officials said the intelligence agencies then sought to learn whether the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians on the hacking or other efforts to influence the election. Didn't we all know this? Didn't we all suspect this? The officials interviewed in recent weeks said that, so far, they had seen no evidence of such cooperation, but the intercepts alarmed American intelligence and law enforcement agencies, in part because of the amount of contact that was occurring while Mr. Trump was speaking glowingly about Vladimir Putin. At one point last summer, Mr. Trump said at a campaign event that he hoped Russian intelligence services had stolen Hillary Clinton's emails and would make them public. The officials said the intercepted communications were not limited to Trump campaign officials and included other associates of Mr. Trump. On the Russian side, the contacts also included members of the Russian government outside of the intelligence services. All the current and former officials spoke on the condition of anonymity. They said that one of the advisors picked up on the calls was Paul Manafort, who was Mr. Trump's campaign chairman for several months last year and had worked as a political consultant in Russia and the Ukraine. Officials declined to identify the other Trump associates on the call. What's interesting, too, is the call logs and intercepted communications are part of a larger trove of information that the FBI is sifting through as it investigates the links between Mr. Trump's associates and the Russian government, as well as the DNC hack. As part of the inquiry, the FBI has obtained banking and travel records and conducted interviews. Mr. Manafort, who has not been charged with any crimes, dismissed the accounts of the American officials in a telephone interview yesterday. This is absurd. I have no idea what this is referring to. I have never knowingly spoken to Russian intelligence officers, and I have never been involved with anything to do with the Russian government or the Putin administration or any other issues under the investigation today. When Michael Flynn resigned yesterday or the day before, Russian media said that he resigned because he wanted to be closer to family. And they didn't really spend much time on the whole connection between Michael Flynn and the Russians and how he had misinformed Vice President Pence. Okay, back to that Harrison Ford story then. Harrison Ford was heard on air traffic control recordings asking, was that airliner meant to be underneath me? Back in March of last year, 2 years ago, the Star Wars veteran suffered moderate injuries when his World War II era PT-22 trainer plane crash-landed at Penmar Golf Course shortly after taking off from nearby Santa Monica Airport. Ford, who has been flying planes for nearly 50 years and collects vintage planes, was the only person aboard and was outside the plane when first responders arrived. He had no other choice but to make an emergency landing, which he did safely. But he had another close call in the skies over Southern California yesterday. The actor was piloting a single-engine Husky when he was instructed to land on a particular runway. He mistakenly headed for a taxiway instead, and his plane passed above a commercial 737 loaded with 110 passengers and a 6-person crew. No one was hurt. The 737 was able to leave for Dallas minutes later. And the one other thing I wanted to bring up was Robert Downey Jr., because no day can pass by without saying the words Robert Downey Jr. And his son, Robert Downey Jr. Does he have a son? I don't know. But he will star in a movie directed by Richard Linklater, the man behind so many what was he behind? The movie Dazed and Confused. What was that? Boyhood a couple years ago, the one he had filmed over like 3 decades. He also did Bernie with, not about Bernie Sanders, but about that guy in Texas who killed his old woman lover and put her in a freezer that had Jack Black in it. And Matthew McConaughey. All right. But no, this movie that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in, based on the recent Man of the People episode from the Reply All podcast. I have no idea what that podcast is. Sounds like an This American Life type podcast, and I hate those. It'll partner Susan and Robert Downey Jr.'s Team Downey production company for the as-yet untitled film based on the true story of Dr. John Brinkley, a charlatan who scams his way to fame using fake medicine, populism, and radio. Dr. Morse Fishbein, editor of the Journal of the AMA, begins a quest to take him down as Brinkley becomes more famous, mainly for transplanting goat testicles into humans. Okay, this sounds bad. The episode aired January 19th, and they're already making it into a movie. Team Downey, Susan Downey, and Robert Downey Jr. will produce alongside blah, 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 who cares? All right, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Next show, it'll be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Have a wonderful Singles Appreciation Day. Yes, for all of us who had no one to... I had someone yesterday. I had my dog, Basil the Boxer, walking all around Pleasanton, seeing the lovely ladies in red. And no, they weren't prostitutes. They were women in red. Women can't wear red? Is that what you're saying? No, they can. And in a couple weeks, on St. Patrick's Day, they'll be wearing green. And there'll be ladies in green. And there's no 80s song about that as far as I know. But yes, next show we will have Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Enjoy your Singles Appreciation Day. And yay, singles.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at
MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!
Burgomaster.